The story of the Tuskegee Airmen is a big story, and it's an amazing story.
I want you to read your flight manual cover to cover and know it, like the Holy Bible.
Yes, sir. That goes for all of you.
Real Tuskegee Airmen visited the set and corrected scenes based on memories that Hollywood had never heard before.
To have meetings with the Tuskegee Airmen to make everything as accurate as it possibly could.
You guys look pretty good.
We've had
The actor playing a racist senator received death threats until the actual veterans he portrayed discriminating against publicly defended him. These are 12 incredible facts about the Tuskegee Airmen you never knew.
Airmen in the 40s had hair on their chest, right? We're all in this together, and I guess we all know that, which is why we stick so.
From Cuba Gooding Jr. discovering his own family connection to the squadron to the German fighter pilot who faced them in combat visiting the set. These revelations show how Hollywood finally told the story America had hidden for 50 years. 1. The living legends on set. 15 original Tuskegee Airmen served as consultants, correcting everything from military salutes to 1940s slang that even historians had gotten wrong.
Understands that they were hired for a reason, they have a job to do.
You know you guys are getting paid for this, but their roles and their roles. Proud of you.
Yes, sir.
These men, now in their 70s, demonstrated proper oxygen mask procedures, taught actors how to climb into P-51s without using the wrong handholds, and corrected dialogue based on actual conversations they remembered from 50 years earlier. Colonel Span Watson stopped a scene where pilots high-fived, explaining they used subtle nods instead. Lieutenant Colonel Dryden corrected the way actors wore their crusher caps. These veterans had waited decades for their story. They weren't letting Hollywood get it wrong. One veteran brought his actual 1943 flight logs to ensure mission details were accurate. 2. Fishburne's secret flight training. Lawrence Fishburne didn't just study his character Hannibal Lee, he literally learned to fly. He spent 3 months with Colonel Charles McGee, who flew 409 combat missions across 3 wars. McGee taught Fishburne to pilot an actual P-51 Mustang at his own expense, wanting the actor to understand the physical sensation of controlling 6 tons of aircraft. Fishburne logged over 40 flight hours, though insurance prevented him from flying during filming. McGee shared details never recorded in history books. How black pilots developed their own combat tactics because white instructors wouldn't properly train them. Fishburne's authentic cockpit movements came from actual muscle memory, not acting. 3. The death threat defender. John Lithgow received multiple death threats for playing the racist Senator Isaiah Whitmore, with letters calling him a traitor to his race for portraying segregationist evil. The threats became so serious, HBO hired bodyguards. Then something extraordinary happened. 5 actual Tuskegee Airmen held a press conference defending Lithgow, saying he portrayed exactly the racism they faced. Colonel Lee Archer stated, "He's showing America what we really endured. Don't blame the actor for history's ugliness." Lithgow was so moved he broke down crying. He later funded scholarships for descendants of Tuskegee Airmen, saying the role changed his understanding of American history. 4. The impossible plane problem. Only 3 airworthy P-51 Mustangs existed in America available for filming, forcing creative solutions that nearly broke the budget. The same planes were painted and repainted between takes. Sometimes 3 times daily red tail markings were applied for Tuskegee scenes, then removed for German fighter sequences. Paint fumes became so toxic that crew needed respirators. One Mustang's engine failed mid-scene, forcing an emergency landing in an Arkansas cotton field. The production borrowed additional planes from collectors who flew them to location for single shots. The insurance for 3 vintage fighters exceeded most TV movie entire budgets at $2 million. 5. The crash that nearly killed stunt pilot Steve Hinton was recreating Lieutenant Mac Ross's actual 1944 crash when mechanical failure turned recreation into potential disaster. The scripted crash sequence went wrong when the P-51's engine genuinely failed at 200 feet altitude. Hinton managed to guide the plane into a controlled crash that looked identical to the historical accident but wasn't planned. He walked away with minor injuries from an impact that should have been fatal. The cameras kept rolling, capturing the real crash. When producers reviewed footage, they couldn't tell where the stunt ended and real emergency began. Hinton refused to reshoot, saying, "One miracle survival is enough." 6. Cuba's family revelation. During research, Cuba Gooding Jr. discovered his own uncle had been a Tuskegee mechanic, a fact his family never discussed. His grandmother revealed this after Cuba got the role, showing him a photograph of Uncle George in his ground crew uniform. George had maintained the fighters but never received recognition because mechanics weren't considered real Tuskegee Airmen. Cuba spent weeks learning about the ground crews who worked 18-hour shifts keeping planes combat ready. He added subtle tributes to his uncle, wearing his actual service pin in several scenes and using his uncle's nickname Sweetwater in background dialogue. The discovery connected Cuba personally to history he thought was distant. 7. The Pentagon's hidden files. HBO's production became the first television movie granted access to classified combat reports about segregated units. Military historians discovered files deliberately misfiled to hide the squadron's success rate. Documents revealed the Tuskegee Airmen never lost a bomber they escorted, a perfect record unmatched by any white fighter group. The Pentagon provided mission reports showing white bomber crews specifically requested red tail escorts after witnessing their effectiveness. These reports had been classified not for security, but for embarrassment about racial policies. One document showed generals attempting to disband the unit despite their perfect record. The film could only include a fraction of the discrimination revealed. 8. Eleanor Roosevelt's lost footage. During production research, archivists discovered previously unknown footage of Eleanor Roosevelt's actual 1941 flight with Chief Anderson. The silent 16mm film, found in a mislabeled canister, showed the First Lady climbing into the biplane and her delighted expression after landing. This footage had been suppressed because it showed racial integration that embarrassed the military. The discovery allowed filmmakers to recreate the scene exactly, matching Roosevelt's clothing and mannerisms. The original footage appeared in a documentary segment after the film. Chief Anderson's grandson saw his grandfather on film for the first time during production, breaking down in tears. 9. 200 missions. 5 shown budget constraints meant the film could depict only 5 combat missions of the squadron's actual 200 documented flights. Writers agonized over which missions to include, each representing dozens of untold stories. They chose missions that demonstrated different aspects: bomber escort, strafing runs, dogfights with German jets, and the attack on the destroyer. Veterans provided details about missions not shown, frustrated that their most heroic moments remained unfilmed. One pilot described shooting down 3 German planes in 12 minutes, impossible to recreate within budget. The production created a memorial book documenting all 200 missions, giving copies to each surviving airman. 10. HBO's enormous gamble. At $10 million, The Tuskegee Airmen was HBO's most expensive television movie ever, with executives privately predicting failure. Focus groups showed white audiences didn't know the squadron existed. Black audiences didn't believe the story was real. Marketing departments couldn't identify the target demographic. HBO nearly pulled funding twice, saved only by Lawrence Fishburne threatening to publicly shame them. The gamble paid off. The film drew HBO's highest ratings ever for an original film, winning 3 Emmy Awards. It proved audiences hungered for untold American stories. The success directly influenced HBO's decision to produce Band of Brothers, seeing military history's commercial potential. 11. The Luftwaffe. Reunion producers located Franz Stiegler, a former Luftwaffe ace who fought against Tuskegee Airmen over Austria in 1945. The 79-year-old German flew from Munich to Arkansas, meeting the actors and 5 original airmen he'd faced in combat. The meeting was electric. Former enemies comparing tactics, arguing about specific dogfights, sharing mutual respect. Stiegler corrected aerial combat sequences, explaining German fighter techniques. He told Cuba Gooding Jr., "Your characters were the only American fighters we feared they never abandoned their bombers." One veteran and Stiegler discovered they'd fought each other on March 24, 1945. Both claiming victory, they laughed about it 50 years later. 12. The metal chain reaction. The film's broadcast created immediate political pressure that resulted in profound recognition. Within months, Congress authorized the Congressional Gold Medal for Tuskegee Airmen, delayed for 50 years. The film was screened in the Capitol building with surviving airmen present. President Clinton invited them to the White House, many visiting for the first time despite defending it in war. The movie directly caused 30 universities to establish Tuskegee Airmen scholarships. The Air Force officially apologized for segregation, acknowledging the squadron's achievements were deliberately suppressed. Most powerfully, the film inspired thousands of young Black Americans to pursue aviation careers, with Air Force Academy applications from African Americans increasing by 40%. Which of these behind-the-scenes facts surprised you most? Was it Cuba Gooding Jr.'s family connection, or the German pilot reuniting with his former enemies? Share your thoughts about these American heroes in the comments below. And if you want more incredible stories about films that revealed hidden history, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Until next time, remember their motto: excellence was our standard. Thanks for watching.